Hey everyone, it's Kai here. I've helped several businesses scale their operations to provide at least a 400% ROI for each solution delivered. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 systems that can 3x your operations inside your business the absolute fastest. So we're actually going to be covering different sections of the business, everywhere from sales to onboarding to employee training. Now, before I do that in the first place, I'm going to explain first what they all have in common that make you scale the fastest. Now, once I cover this, I'm going to show you a demo for each one, coupled with the individual benefits that these have with them. And if you stay around to the end, then you can access the free templates for these solutions at the very end. So let's get started, get straight into it with the question of what actually makes you scale an operation the fastest. Well, the short answer to that is just having an external system. So what that is solutions that can live outside of your current tech stack and still be valuable. So this means that they don't actually need to require any data or extract any data to do something with your existing tech stack, which may be clunky. So they may be hard to access through APIs for the AI agents that we deploy. And this will just simply cause you to take longer to adapt to these solutions. So therefore, if you implement something that lives outside of it, we can do these two things. So number one, we can add to your tech stack. And number two, most importantly, these kind of go together. We do not distract your current team or operations from the way that they currently work. And what this does is it creates a huge opportunity where there are massive upsides to the solutions that you implement with very little downside risk. That's meant to be an error. And so whatever happens, it will happen fast. So the outcome that is very high likelihood to go right and if it goes wrong, it's a very little downside situation. Worst comes to worst, you will be able to quickly repivot and reposition yourself to go towards something else that may actually help you inside your business. So this is why like starting off with these solutions is actually super important in the beginning of your AI journey. And so what I'm going to show you today is going to fall within this spectrum here. So this is like the attachment of the solution to your current system, and as it goes towards like this red section here, that means that they are slower and riskier. Now what I'm going to show you today is going to live specifically within this section over here. So the more detached that they are from your system, the faster and safer they are to start with. So with that being said, the first demo that I'll show you today is going to be a website chatbot that is able to interact by providing value to a specific prospect inside your website. And this value will be retained, or it will be given in exchange for some contact details. So in this case, we're going to be getting their phone number. That's a phone right there. And from that point, we'll be calling them after this like opt-in within 40 seconds. And so this hugely increases the likelihood for sales for people who opt in. And once we call them, we're going to try to get them booked in with a closer from our end so that they can become a client of ours. Okay, so with that being said, we can jump into our voice flow. This here is the pop-up for our website chatbot. And this is actually something that we just built for a client of ours, and he had huge results on the sales side, which I'll go into in a second. But this was in the insurance context of things, so I just made this, it's a generalized template, and this is why this is like in the insurance use case. So this is a website that's looking to help us in any way that we can within the covers that we may need, and it's just asking, are you looking for general information about our company, or do you need specific advice? So I can just say, I need specific advice. I am in hospitality. I'm worried about employees getting hurt. So we're just going to send that over, and we're going to see what the chatbot comes back with. So now it should be trying to understand a little bit more. It's saying, it sounds like you're concerned about employee-related risks, possibly getting injured, or accidents that occur on the job. Is that correct? If so, okay, we're just going to say yes, that's it. And now what it's going to do is it's going to pull structured information from the knowledge base, and it's going to say, okay, just before I help you with this information, I need some contact details in exchange for that. So it's asking us what our full name is. What I've done here is I've picked out a bistro that's close to where I live, and we're just going to be using the information like the owners and that sort of stuff for this example demo over here. So we are just going to say that our name is this owner's name here. We've provided our phone number, and now it should be asking about our website URL, which we can come over here. In this, I've highlighted over here the URL that we need. This will help the agent, research more about this company. So if I click this, we will be getting our list of, decided suggestions from the agent, and what I've done here is that for each one of these suggestions, I can click this something I don't get, and it will elaborate even further so that it makes sure that I get this value out of the conversation. Before I do that, I need to click test workflow of this workflow over here, which is going to be expecting the message. So if I come back over here on my voice flow, I can click this button, and as you can see, we have triggered the chatbot over here. We are uploading information to our demo CRM. So again, this is the data that's living outside of our current setup. We are researching more about this person. We are going to call them up now. So within seconds, we should be getting it on our phone number. Cool. So as you can see, we got AI calling. Hello?
Hey, is this Peter?
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. It's Belle here. Just saw you had a chat to our chatbot about your insurance needs for St. Helier's Bay Bistro. By the way, I know it's a pretty popular spot right on the water there. Did you want to go over any details about what kind of cover you're after?
No, the chatbot was pretty helpful, thanks.
Oh, cool. Glad the chatbot was helpful. Just checking. Have you tried looking for any of these covers before?
Yeah, I have.
Nice. Thanks for letting me know. So here's what we can do for you, Peter. We can set up a sit down with one of our advisors who will actually explain your options in plain English. No confusing jargon or anything, so you don't have to deal with that info overload again. Does that sound good to you?
Yep.
Have
Okay,
any
cool.
other
Thank you.
questions?
And then if we go back to our spreadsheet over here, we've got a whole bunch of information about the company. We've analyzed their pain points from the past and current conversation. We've researched them. We've got a summary. So if you notice on that call, we actually made a personalized line to the agent. It said, "Hey, I noticed that you guys are out on the waterfront," which in this case, it is located in the waterfront. It's a huge, beautiful location out by the beach. And we've got this information right here in our spreadsheet, which as you can see is really, really powerful. We've called this number within like seconds of them opting in. And this is a huge one to start off with because we can even see the call summary, what happened in the call itself. So Peter had a brief conversation with the agent Belle regarding his insurance needs for the bistro. Peter had found the chatbot helpful and agreed to set up an appointment. I just don't think I received the link to the appointment because I had this set up ages ago, and so I kind of had it lost. I think I had it hard coded in my phone that's recording this video right now. But if you want, I got the entire demo set up in the link that I released a couple weeks back regarding this full case study of this system for the client. And so, just going back to the Figma here, there's a few things that I want to run through in particular. And it really is kind of just, summarizing what it looks like and what you've just seen. First, we call them instantly from the opt-in, which increases conversion likelihood by 391%. And again, this is living outside of your current setup. So just imagine the benefits of this in your business, when you implement it quickly. Secondly is that the agent was massively personalized. We saw that we researched the whole company. And then it looks to take these next steps by sending out the invite links to say, hey, like if you like this and if you found that it was helpful, then you can definitely have a sit down with one of our advisors. And that goes for the closers, any other like sales reps, depending on your industry. The implications really are endless. By the way, if you like solutions like these and the other ones that I'll show you today in this video and you'd like to see them in action with your business, or you even just wonder if they would work in the first place, you can contact me directly using the link in the description. I'd love to hop on a call with you, understand your business a little bit more and see how we could help. So book that link in the description and I'd be happy to help. Okay, so this is what you need to know for this next one. So Fireflies here, it is a meeting summary kind of platform where you can record your meetings and then send them to the recipients from your calendar. But what we're going to do is we're going to extend beyond the limitations of Fireflies here because it can't actually deal with any data, or we can't build an agent on top of this platform to create other actions that are beyond this one-size-fits-all platform and can actually adhere to our specific use case. So what we're going to do here, what we have done really, is we've connected Fireflies into, and we've put this webhook here into this workflow. So whenever we get any meetings from Fireflies, it immediately comes up in this workflow here. And if you want, I show exactly how to do this. It's a really quick example, but it's for this exact same build, and I'll put the link up here for you to watch that. But essentially what we're doing is we're taking Fireflies, we are putting it into this webhook, and from that point we are going to vectorize the entire transcript, and we're going to have a sales coach kind of talk to us and coach us based on our mistakes and then also what we did right. So we're going to be going back and forth between the conversation with this coach, and this is going to be happening through WhatsApp. So like, very easy build. And what I've done here is I've just obviously done dummy data to have this demo up for you guys. So what we've got here is a transcript with this guy called David, and it's just pretty much the entire sales call. We can copy this and then paste it into our workflow. We can do so by just clicking set mock data and then just paste it everything over here. I've got this summary always here for you guys to see kind of how the call went instead of having to read this entire transcript. So as you can see, it was a terrible sales call with TechFlow Consulting. So this is the prospect that we are dealing with, okay? What we can do is we can save that and then run this entire flow. And what we should be expecting is the vectorized data in Supabase, which you don't need to understand right now, but pretty much this agent is going to learn everything about this transcript and then contact us through WhatsApp. And as you can see here, I was doing a bit of testing before, but I've got a whole bunch of other conversations with this exact same sales agent. We have gotten this message saying, "Hey Kaiki, your call has been analyzed and I'm ready to coach you." So from this point, we can start chatting to our chatbot about the call that we've just had with TechFlow. So I can say, "How was my call with David from TechFlow?" What the agent is going to do is it's going to extract all of that data. This is a very general query, but we are going to look for the... Okay, so now what it's just doing is just trying to lock in the exact date. It's going to say this was from today. And it is going to lock in, okay, the call, when it was and who it was with what particular sales reps. In this case, it was me, Kaiki. And it's going to analyze the entire query, the entire call, and then come back to me with a summary. And then from that point, we can start chatting back and forth and the coach can start, doing his thing. So we've just received that response there. It said, okay, let's break down the call from today, as you can see. And then in this transcript here, apparently I started solid, but then David was really worried about experience. And then the chatbot has analyzed that David needed someone who knew the stuff inside out for this particular, solution here. You kind of admitted this wasn't your usual arena and suggested starting simpler, which made him think you were not the right fit. He ended up the call disappointed, feeling his time was wasted. And then down here it said, next time with a complex enterprise client like David, try this, be upfront about your limits, then pivot into what you can do well. And if it's really a mismatch, just wrap it up quickly, which is fair enough coming from this coach. Okay, so now I just said a very specific question saying that I may have not just felt confident enough, even though I had the experience. So how should I have overcome David's objection? And very quickly it replies back to me saying, okay, I need to acknowledge his concern. So handling the complex integrations may feel risky, whatever. And then we associate it saying something like, I've worked on similar Salesforce API limits. And then we ask to keep moving. So what this is coming from, what this information is coming from Hormozi's objection handling section of the entire sales course that he has on YouTube. So I pulled everything and I vectorized it into a huge kind of knowledge base, you can think of it. And what it is doing is it's using specifically the objection handling metrics that he uses, so the frameworks, to help me in my particular use case. What I really like about this is that it's so specific to what is currently happening. Not only is it just like a ChatGPT giving general advice, but it can see exactly what the transcript was about, what happened, and then therefore it can give tailored advice to me in a very scalable way. So this can actually happen between like an entire team of people who work within an organization. So from what I just showed you, there's a few implications in the sales team as a whole that I want to go through. Obviously you have the constant support that the individual rep can have access to, and it is very tailored, obviously, as you can see, to the call they had and also to the information that it is getting it from. So Alex Hormozi's sales course, which makes it super reliable. At the same time, we have quality answers. So in regards to, this comes back to a lot of like how teams operate in the sales section. If you have a large amount of people and only a limited amount of team leaders that can actually help you, a lot of times they are distracted with other higher priority things or things that are higher risk within that organization. And when you ask them a question, you might not even get the best response back. So this guarantees that, one, we are getting it from a consistent and reliable knowledge base, which is Alex Hormozi, of course, and we have the focus towards us that we can get these quality answers. And in regards to the team leader, obviously it frees up their time to focus on high leverage activity, which is kind of what these 2 points are. But if you look at it as a broad term in an overview, the whole team just operates more productively because you have a constant support there at scale, so that people can always be helped in whatever way they need. Last but definitely not least, we have this AI agent MicroSaaS, which records meetings and then sends actionable steps to people who are getting onboarded, so that it streamlines the entire experience and makes things faster so that the projects that are about to take place occur faster. And so this is very similar to what we just did, obviously, but again, it goes through this idea of extending beyond the one-size-fits-all idea of things, right? And what's interesting about this one is that it, within our spectrum here, so if you look back over here, there's a couple of like variations to this where sometimes it falls more towards this side, but then what I'm about to show you falls more towards the freed up side. So I'm going to show you both. I just made a video on this that outlines the entire, capabilities of this. But essentially what it does is it listens into conversations and then updates the CRM at the same time. So if I record this meeting here and I'm onboarding a client, what I'd likely be talking about is, if he's an AI automation client of mine, I'd be talking about his tech stack. Okay, what complexities do you have in your business that we have to actually look through? So really the nitty gritty stuff that you don't want to look at, but you have to know in terms of like API connections, all that sort of stuff. So you understand their business and how you're going to go about carrying on like through the project, right? So in this case, there's two scenarios that you can go through. Either we actually have things that we need from the client themselves. In this case, obviously I'm talking about, API credentials, connection requests, their tech stack, all this sort of stuff, which would mean that we definitely need some actionable steps on their end. What I could also talk about is just saying, okay, we have everything we need. Your project is easy enough. We can get started right now. There's nothing that you need to do. And obviously depends to your use case, which is why I think this solution is very helpful, because it really kind of goes towards either side of those situations there. But let's say in this particular scenario, I'm talking to a prospect and I need their credentials for API requests. What I would do in this case is I've just finished recording the meeting. Now I can go to proceed. And what I will do here is identify the lead that is in my CRM that I'm talking about that the project needs to be updated or need to be clarified on. So I can just say I'm doing like One Fitness or something. And then within that lead, so within that company, we have different executives who I can be sending this to. So I can obviously send this to myself with my email, but I can send it to different people by just clicking this drop-down box over here. I'm just going to be sending it to myself through the agent. Now this first information, this first box here, is tailored towards the more kind of integrated and attached version of the solution. What we're going to do is we're just going to send a pure email and we're going to see what that looks like without having to update anything with our CRM. And the CRM that I use here is Airtable, but we're just not going to worry about that now because it goes away from the whole idea of this entire video. So if I click proceed and click actionable steps, we can turn on this workflow over here and we can click send recording. And what it is going to do is it's going to send solely the email with actionable steps about what I need for that company through email. So if I go to the email here, we'll be able to see that output. We'll just wait for that node to finish. So now that we're all done, we can open up our Gmail and we can see here that we've just received an next steps email for One Fitness for AI automation, which is obviously what I was just talking about in that voice recorder here. And again, we have everything that we need. This is like I'm the client and I need to do this immediately so the project can get started, and the AI really makes sure to do that. It's a lot more simpler compared to the other solutions, but the necessity of this is just as high because, I even gave the agent a fill out forms here as though it were like a basic thing that we get to all our clients, and it sends that. It doesn't need anything from our internal systems. The only thing that this runs off is a simple prompt. And huge, really powerful over here. So we actually did this to one of our clients. So we helped them build this exact solution, and these were the immediate befores and afters. So at first they had a boring message that was sent out to their teams to get onboarded, and it obviously took too long. So if there was anything that they needed, it was like PDF generated and it wasn't personalized at all. And therefore this created no urgency for them to get started, providing the credential that they required. And this was just a flow out effect, right? This is what I'm getting at. It was like bad experience and slow onboarding process. And through the SaaS system, we were able to provide them personalized email, which is obviously not boring. They're going to see that and say, okay, this is actually what we talked about. It was immediate. So as you can see, all I needed to do was click send, and then the agent worked through it very quickly. And this inherently provides accountability, so urgency for the people to work through these things, provide all these details, which as a result creates great experience and fast onboarding at the same time. So as mentioned before, if you stuck around to the end and you understand what each of these individual solutions could provide to you in your business, then you can access the templates below. Everything is free, and if you have any issues setting them up, then you can comment down below and I'll be happy to help. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.